What's up everybody, Sam Kimmel here with StealthBuilt, and today we are getting started on fitting up this wide body kit for this Subaru WRX right here in the background. So we got to do some custom trimming for this front bumper, and I think that's where we're going to start, and then we're going to move into the fenders, the side skirts, and then all the way around to the back. So check it out, here we go. All right, so we got the front bumper all fitted up, and I have to say, this was one of the easiest fit ups I've ever done, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it's part of because of how good the quality of this bumper is. This kit so far, the quality of it looks really good. I've done a lot of kits, and I'll tell you right now, normally they don't fit very good, and the quality isn't very good, and the consistency of the thickness of the parts is way off. This one is not that way. This one fits really nice. Very consistent, everything fits up nice. We went ahead and trimmed around everything internally for the intercooler tubes, and there's a crash bar behind here that's stainless. We had to trim a little bit for that, but overall I am really happy with the fitment. You can see how much flare we're going to be adding on here. Quite a bit. I don't know what that is, 1.5 inches maybe, close to 2 inches, 1 3/4 probably. But anyway, fitment is really good. Pretty happy with that front bumper so far, and it looks cool. Got a diffuser that bolts on underneath there, and now it's time to fit up those flares. All right, I just had to get a shot with the hood down. It looks sweet. Looks sweet. Okay, so now that the front bumper is fitted up, we can work on fitting up these fenders. So they're an over fender. So this is the over fender, and as you can see, very consistent, has a flange all the way around it for bonding. So flange back here on the inside, flange. Very important. If your kit doesn't have a flange, it's really hard to attach it to the car. This flange we're also gonna bond. So I'm gonna show you how it fits up here. Something like that. Just gotta do all the adjustments, but looks pretty good already. All right, so we got the front fender overlay sitting more or less where it needs to go. And I thought we probably ought to just go ahead and temporarily fasten this entire side on, because we're gonna have to do a little bit of clearancing. You can see right here, this gap isn't quite right, and so this piece doesn't fit back like it should. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scribe line right up against here, and then I'm gonna take these off, these side skirts, and I'll be able to trim that out real gentle so that it fits like absolutely perfect against that piece. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this back flare. It kind of fits down in that little pocket, so it's gonna need a little bit of the same treatment. So I'm gonna get this taped up, and then we're gonna scribe out where those gaps are. Now, there is a gap right here. We're gonna see when we trim this how that closes up. If that doesn't close up the way that I want it to, we'll add some fiberglass in there. Not a big deal. I think we're gonna probably run into a similar situation back here, but it's a, you know, it'll take 30 minutes. We'll add some glass into that, sand it down, and it'll fix whatever little gap issues we have. Okay, so we got a similar situation here. You can see that it just doesn't fit quite right. Now it's close, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this fit around here perfect. Now that gap, there's no way that's going away, so we're going to have to do some fill work here. So I'll have to build that little triangular piece, you know, scribe this and cut that. That will move this back a little and get this gap closer, because right now the door is really super close. You see how close that gets, and we don't want it that close. And you can see we're about flush, a little past flush here, and we're a little over down here, so I can kind of get my fingernail behind that. So like I said, once we trim out this area right here where it doesn't fit right, make this whole thing slide that way at the bottom, that should correct the tight fit issue right there, and then this will just fill that in. I like to use one of these fine point permanent markers, ultra fine point, and that way I can get in here and I can get this like dead on where I want it. Now I tilted the Sharpie, and what I did was I started at the exact point here where the gap begins, and I held that same angle as I went around, and that way what it does is it should match up really nice and fit. I won't say perfect, but it's probably going to be pretty close on the first go around. Well, we got this whole side fitted up. It fits pretty good. Now, there are some things that needed modified. I already showed you those gaps. We got those fixed up pretty close. Still got to do that little filler piece here. Obviously, you can't see the back when the door's closed. But when you open the door, you know, you can see that big gap, and I'm not going to leave that there, so we'll have to fill that in. But for the most part, this thing fits really nice. I'm pretty happy with it so far. This is a wrap, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel that wrap so that I can bond these panels to the original car, and I need to know where those land exactly, so I'm going to get all this taken apart. I'm going to map out all the lines for where everything goes, then I'm going to fill those two filler sections, and I'm going to peel all that vinyl so that I can bond this side all at the same time. Now I may fit up the rear bumper first, just to be sure that we don't have anything out of whack. May fit up the whole entire body kit real quick, since this only took about, I don't know, a few hours. I may come back through and just fit everything up, and then I can do all the peeling, all the sanding, all the everything at once. All right, so on this back bumper, there's normally a bracket that mounts back behind here. And what I've done is temporarily just put one rivet in it. The bracket is in here, as you can see. And I'm gonna install the one on the other side as well, just temporarily, so I can fit this up. Now, the reason I'm doing this temporarily is because I don't know, this kit doesn't have any instructions, so I don't know if those are supposed to be in here or if they're meant to be used. I'm gonna assume that they can still work. So I'm gonna go ahead and install both of them, then I'm gonna test fit this bumper, and hopefully that is a good securement point for all this. And then we can move on to the next stages, which is getting these fender flares attached and yeah, and move forward. But I just kind of wanted to show you that because, like I said, I don't know if they meant for you to use those or not. I assume that they are meant to be used since there is a hole back here to put this little tab through. So we're gonna try it, and we're gonna test fit it up and see if it works. All right, so I did end up attaching those brackets on the inside. I riveted them, and that worked out really well. And then I also did some stainless hardware going into riv nuts on these brackets that are underneath here. So we've got 4 bolts on each side here, 4 over there, and then the attachment points also up there. And you can't see it, but there's an attachment point on the inside of this fender where that metal bracket bolts through. So all that's nice and solid. So now it's time to get the flares mounted and then figure out where we need to cut. All right, it's looking pretty good. So what am I doing right now? Well, you remember we rolled both of the edges, the inner and the outer of the quarter panel here. And so I came through, seam sealed it all, and then shot rock guard on it too. So it's all sealed up, got the 3M rock guard in there, and then we're just gonna spray that black so that it looks, you know, natural. But everything should be sealed up and ready to go. We got a couple more screws to mount the side skirts, and then this bad boy's ready to go home. Looking pretty good. Well, there it is, all finished up. Like I said, we're not doing any of the body work or the wrap or any of that, so this is where our part ends, and the customer is going to take over the rest. But this kit ended up fitting up really nice. The only thing we really had to do was trim the front bumper for the intercooler and trim part of the inside of the fender wells out, the stuff for the air ride to be able to go up and down. But this is driving height, cruising height right here, as far as he has it set right now. And like I said, maybe he'll adjust that out later, but it looks pretty good. Pretty happy with it. The install went pretty smooth. Just like any kits, you know, you have your things you got to play with, things you got to adjust, but overall I think it's going to look really nice when he gets all the body panels, you know, wrapped up and all that. But that's it, man. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give me a like, give me a share, give me a thumbs up, all that stuff. It does definitely help our channel. We appreciate it very much. I want to say thanks to everybody who does follow us, and I really appreciate it. That's how we get to do cool builds, you know. All the followers, all the likes, and the subscribers, and everybody like that really helps out. So appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.